Hello, my friends. I am V, and this is V's Intuition. Today, we're going to do a reading about why are you glowing right now? What is making you glow? Okay? I don't know why I'm doing that with my hand. So, I'm a little tired. Anyways, yes, we're going to do what is making the collective glow during this time. Because people are noticing that you are just glowing, honey. So let's dive in. All right. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time? Please and thank you. And during this time is just whenever you see it. There's no exact time frame intended. Intended. All right. Let's say what we working with here. What we working with? Okay. 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 Anyways, so we have the Four of Cups, Queen of Cups, the Chariot, Page of Swords, oh, excuse me, Seven of Pentacles, and then the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups. There's a good amount of cup action happening here. Even the Chariot. So, like, well, by cups, I mean that's representing water signs. But also the Chariot represents water signs. That's Cancer. Interesting. A lot of water energy. You could just be a very emotional person, somebody that experiences very intense emotions. Or maybe you're like really in tune with your emotions. That could be a reason why you're glowing during this time. Anyways, let's just get down to the clarification, shall we? Starting with the Four of Cups. Please, thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time with that Four of Cups? Thank you so much, Spirit. Anything else for that Four of Cups? Please and thank you, Spirit. Okay. So we had a couple already flip out. Let's see. I'm going to check just to make sure that there's none facing the opposite way, because I seem to always miss it in this deck when there's ones that are facing up or, facing the other way. Ugh. Okay. Well, I think that came out first, and then that was second. And then anything else wrong? No? I think it was just that one. Okay. Clarifying the Four of Cups. You have the Justice card. The Lovers. King of Wands. And bottom of the deck, King of Pentacles. Honey, you are powerful. You're like really in your power right now. What the hell? And it's also like you're creating, I don't even know how to word this. It's almost like you're creating justice for yourself because you're like valuing yourself, or you see at least some value in yourself here, because the Four of Cups is really about boundary setting, determining what it is that you want, what it is that you don't want, and living according to that, And so if something doesn't feel like the right fit, you let it go. You may kind of be on your own as well, and I don't mean that in a sad or lonely way, but you might just be kind of self-isolating, or maybe you just feel more comfortable being on your own, at least during this time. But that Justice card, that is beautiful. Through you choosing yourself, choosing your ultimate happiness, and going in accordance with that, and realizing like, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and kind of living your life in that way, it's really serving you. It's correcting a lot of bad karma. I feel like it's almost like you are creating your own justice and you're also creating your own good karma. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but that's what I'm getting so clearly here is like you are, and the lovers coming after that, that justice card, that's indicating that you are making all of the right choices during this time to put you in your highest alignment, highest frequency, vibration. I also feel like you're marrying these two parts to yourself. Could definitely be light and shadow, but I'm getting more so your masculine and your feminine energy. Even though there are two kings, that may kind of point to, maybe it being a little bit more masculine than feminine. Uh, but I don't think it is an indication that you're overdoing the masculine energy because we do have that justice, which is the balancing, you know, keeping things steady and like um, equal. And the lovers, which is that like coming together of those parts, the feminine and the masculine, coming together, working in harmony. And then that King of Wands energy, you have bossed up. There is a fire to you, a determination. This may be a newer energy for you to embody, or simply, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you've been like this for a long time, but ooh, it's putting you in like the perfect vibration here. So, yeah, the first part of why you glow is because you're prioritizing yourself. You're creating your own good karma for yourself. You are creating balance within. You are incorporating all of your parts, not just, being completely in the masculine and not being completely in the feminine. And, maybe there's other, things within you that you're balancing out as well. But feels like very much like you are doing a lot of good internal work. And I feel like it's coming through to the surface through your energy, your presence. I feel like right now you are in a very strong vibration. You have a very powerful aura during this time. So maybe you could use that to your benefit as well. Because there's something about you that demands respect automatically. And it's like you don't have to say a word. People just naturally want to respect you because of the energy you're coming through with at this time. The King of Wands is also a very motivated character. So I feel like maybe your attention may not be so focused on romantic love. Feels like this is a you chapter in your life is what I feel. Like you're focusing on you, what's best for you, not like, yeah, it's like what's best for you, not what feels best for you. Because I've noticed that on my own journey where it's like, sure, maybe I want a relationship, but is that really what's best for me now? And you kind of have to kind of, figure that out within. I feel like you're realizing something like that. Because maybe you're like me, and maybe you get distracted by love. Or you tend to put all of your attention and energy into your partner. And so maybe this time alone is helping you to really stay focused and put in a lot of energy into your goals. And it feels like because of that justice, because of that Lover's card, you are going to receive the payoff of your efforts. Speaking of payoff of your efforts, King of Pentacles would be the perfect example of that. You have become a boss in your own right, and you're going to experience a lot of success, abundance, stability. You're also just going to feel more confident about yourself because it's like, yeah, I did that, Because the thing about this internal work, it's not easy. It really isn't, especially because we're clarifying the Four of Cups. That typically goes with a rejection of some sort, typically, you know? So, like, maybe you've had to reject certain offers or situations, people that you really didn't want to, but you realize this is what's best for me right now. And this is what's going to help me stay on track. Just focusing on myself, focusing on the things that I have going on. Yeah. You are very determined during this time, and people can see that in you. I'm curious what's underneath that King of Pentacles here. That's the King of Cups, baby. What the hell is going on here? Who are you? Well, I'll tell you who you are. You are the goddamn Emperor. Because the Emperor is the combination of all the kings. So far, we have King of Wands, King of Pentacles, King of Cups. I would not be surprised if the King of Swords shows themselves during this reading. But that's amazing. Why do I feel like I need to tell you directly that you're doing a really good job? Because I almost feel like this could be so obvious to everyone around you, but maybe because it's your own, stuff that you're going through or you're trying to sort out within you, you may not notice it as much as other people do. How I think people see you as a success already. So even if you're not in your, successful era, it's just a matter of time, truly, because you're embodying, this really goes to, aligns with the messages through in terms of learning how to manifest, you kind of have to embody the energy of what you want your future to look like. I feel like you have been doing this, or you're doing this currently. Oh, it's powerful energy. Very powerful energy. It's unmistakable. Like, you are bossing up in so many areas of your life. Also, there's that sense of control, not in a negative sense, but in that how to control your inner parts, like your shadow, or maybe, because I'm thinking of specifically emotions with that King of Cups. You're learning how to master your own you're learning how to master your own emotions, and that is not easy. It really isn't, especially when you grow up in maybe a sort of chaotic household, and you didn't have a lot of exposure to therapy or psychology and stuff like that, and so you're not able to really learn those coping skills until you're in your adulthood, and then you kind of have to reprogram your whole brain to work on that stabilizing of your emotions. But it feels like you literally have been doing all of the work that is going to set you up for success, and not just success, but success in multiple areas of your life. Yeah. I'm just curious what's underneath that King of Cups. No, seriously, who am I talking to here? Because that's the sun. That is the sun. Okay, so I do think that you are balancing out your feminine and masculine within yourself. But right now, you're very much embodying the masculine energy. And that's not to defend or not to offend my feminines out there. Because it feels like you kind of have to be in this masculine energy at this time in order to get the biggest payoff. So you probably have been doing a lot. You've been, doing a lot in terms of your career, in terms of your self-work, your emotions, and your relations to love and stuff. And then the sun card. So this is the reason why I'm saying this is a lot of masculine energy, because we have 3 kings, and then we have the sun, which the sun is masculine in certain types of spiritualities the sun is typically seen as the masculine and the moon is typically seen as the feminine. Um, but also, it's pretty awesome that we see the sun here. And the whole theme of this reading is why are you glowing? So you are glowing like the sun. But I feel like there's a sense that maybe you're not quite aware yet just how much of an impact you're making and maybe how far you've come. So I feel like part of this reading is probably reassurance that you're on the right path. I feel this sense of uncertainty. And, when we're working on ourselves, when we're doing these really important things, we don't get a lot of outside validation, if any, that we're like doing the right things, that we're on the right track. And so sometimes we are so close to the situation that we lose our ability to see it clearly. And so I think that you may just need some reassurance to kind of keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because it is a beautiful energy that you're embodying right now. Very powerful. And I feel like you can use it to your benefit, and I think you are using it to your benefit. Wow. That is beautiful. Okay, let's go into the Queen of Cups. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time with that Queen of Cups? Please and thank you, Spirit. What do you have for that Queen of Cups? Please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's a bit much. I think I'm gonna keep it anyways, even though I think it's a bit much. Yeah. It's a bit much, but I think I'll keep it because maybe it's trying to tell us a story. And I do love me a story. Okay. So what came out for that Queen of Cups? We have the Eight of Swords. That was followed by the 10 of Cups. And then we have 10 of Pentacles. Okay. 4 of Pentacles. Judgment. Page of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles. Queen of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the High Priestess. So, okay, now they're showing me the feminine side to you. That's so interesting that that's how it's working out. Is like we just saw how you're balancing, or maybe like, yes, your feminine and masculine energies are balanced, but I feel like that last part of the reading was about how you are specifically embodying the masculine energy and using it in your favor to see the best results. And now we're diving into the feminine, and we can see how you're using this in your favor, this feminine energy. Because, wow, that's crazy. I love that the first card to come out to clarify that that Queen of Cups is the Eight of Swords, because especially with all the other good cards that came out, like it feels like you used to be somebody that was really stuck in their head, but you have freed yourself from either a way of thinking about things, a way of processing things mentally. I almost feel like there's something about that, the way you process things. So maybe the way that you process like stressors, like in your environment, that could be changing for the best. Maybe you're just somebody that likes to, or I'm not trying to say they like to overthink, but you could be somebody that overthinks to a fault, But it's like you've broken free from this. You may have even had to like correct certain mindsets that you have been maybe identifying with, or narratives that you've been identifying with for a long time that are like out of date. I feel like you have successfully moved outside of that. Even if you still struggle at times, it's not like it used to be. That's what I feel with that. Um, and then this is beautiful. Yeah, we have the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Pentacles. I can't make this up. That is insane. So it feels like it's as a direct consequence to you figuring out your mental health. Okay, so that's what I'm getting. There's something about your mental health that you probably do struggle with your mental health, but there's some way of you viewing it in a different way, associating with it in a different way. Maybe you're more kind to yourself if you're struggling, which, can be difficult to do when we're struggling, right? Because we want to get up and do things, but maybe our mind or our body isn't cooperating with us. And so we can get frustrated at ourselves and blame ourselves, which, doesn't really help us. If anything, it holds us back more. But through this shifting out of these old ways of thinking, these old narratives, you're setting yourself up for I'm specifically getting a fuck ton in my mind. You're getting a fuck ton of happiness, emotional fulfillment, as well as generational wealth, abundance, security, building a beautiful home for yourself. It almost even feels like you're going to be building a beautiful home for yourself in the future because you've established that beautiful home within yourself first, if that makes any sense. It's almost like, and I'm not trying to make you out to be like somebody that's like, oh, I never struggle ever because I figured out the solution. And because like mental health doesn't really work that way, right? Because it has its ebbs and flows and, it kind of just goes up and down and whatnot, fluctuates. Um, but you're really doing a great job to set yourself up for a lot of success. And then we have the Four of Pentacles here. You used to hold really heavily onto things, maybe experiences of the past, but it feels almost like or maybe you used to take those experiences and use them as walls to keep other people out. And again, I feel like maybe there were certain things you were attached to that weren't serving you, but I feel like you're shedding these, especially because after that Four of Pentacles is the Judgment card. And that is a huge shift there. It even feels like a wake-up call from Spirit. I feel like something could have like shaken you out of this period of maybe feeling defeated by life. Like Spirit has guided you to, sort of analyze what had not been serving you and taking the proper actions to correct that so that you can be put on a higher vibration. Yeah, I think that there was something maybe even slightly tumultuous that happened that kind of made you shift into a new energy, or it made you correct these things that were not serving you within. Because after that Judgment card, we have the Page of Pentacles, and that feels like a new beginning, maybe even a rebirth. Yeah, something significant happened to you at some point, whether this is recent or not so recent. It really did shake you up quite a bit. And it also changed the way you see things, especially the way you view things like investments, goals, your vision of the future. It's so interesting because I almost feel like it could have been something that was, very tumultuous. So at the time, you probably didn't find it very enjoyable to go through this shift, but it somehow made you feel more optimistic about the future and feel like you can, hold on to a vision and create that vision for yourself. It's like a complete shifting of mindsets here. And then the Two of Pentacles. And this kind of goes with the first part of this reading, which had a lot to do with balance. I think you have, started from the bottom in terms of finding balance within. You started from scratch. Like I feel like maybe even slightly, not exaggerating, but whatever. I can't think of the word, but poop. What was that message? I want to like stress a certain point. What was that message, Spirit? Oh, yes. I want to like sort of emphasize that I don't think you were born into maybe a family that was really good at, certain things, perhaps managing emotions, perhaps managing finances, maybe all of the above. And so it's almost like you had to teach yourself this. You feel very much like a self-taught kind of person. And maybe you're also kind of somebody that kind of rolls with how life unfolds, because life can be very unexpected. Things happen all the time that we don't expect to happen, and then they do, and then we have to like adapt them. I feel like you are that type of person. Maybe at one point you weren't really good at adapting, but now you are. You've gained these skills, these bits of knowledge through your path, through your life path, and through your life experiences. I feel like saying you've weathered the storms and you come out with the Queen of Wands here. That is a very attractive energy to be in. Also very strong. The Queen of Wands is somebody that knows who they are and they don't let anybody else tell them who they are. I feel like that is something that you have figured out on this path. Like, who are you? What do you stand for? What do you not stand for? What is important to you? What is worth putting your energy, attention, time into, and what is not? And you're coming through as this really powerful energy. And it feels like you are in perfect alignment to your manifestations. This is a beautiful energy here. Oh, I never even noticed this before, but behind the Queen of Wands here, looks like she has a halo in the background. I never noticed that. So people could be seeing you as slightly angelic, or that you're super tapped into spirit, which would make sense because we're about to look at this High Priestess. So I think you are very tapped into spirit, but I think it's more than that. Because, well, that's the thing too. Like, because I personally believe that all of us can tap into spirit and get those messages. We just have to practice that. And so anybody can get these messages from spirit, but it really matters about who you are as an individual and if you use those messages for your benefit or how spirit intends you to use those messages. Like, yeah. I hope that makes sense because I feel like that may have not made so much sense. But you listen to spirit, you listen to your intuition, you let these things guide you. And it feels very much like spirit has never led you wrong before, or you've ever since embodying this new energy of being super tapped in, it hasn't failed you yet. And so you're kind of just going with it, You're like, well, it hasn't backfired, so maybe I'm on the right track. And I feel like saying you are on the right track. Yeah. Feels like this is kind of what you were meant to do, or this energy that you were meant to embody. Divine purpose could be part of this as well. Maybe you're finding that purpose. Let's see what's underneath that High Priestess. Ace of Cups. See, that feels like self-love to me. You had to fill up your cup because actually that's kind of sad, but I'm getting the message that nobody else filled up your cup, so you had to do it yourself. You could have been somebody that really struggled with relationships, not just romantic, but maybe familial as well, maybe with friends. It feels like you were starved of affection for a long time in your life, and so you realize that if nobody else is going to give it to me, I have to create it myself. And that's actually a very powerful energy to embody. You very much, whatever is in your power to control, I see you doing that. And that's really serving you. I'm just curious what's underneath that Ace of Cups. Nine of Cups. So, because you're doing the work, such as practicing self love, filling your cup, Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. So, you're right on track to come into your blessings, come into your manifestations, to create the future you want for yourself. Have your dreams come true, truly. So, going back to the theme of this reading, in terms of why you're glowing, it's literally like who you are, the fact that you are so resilient, the fact that, you know, it really feels like you can snap back from anything, no matter what life throws at you, and you have that confidence because you know what you're capable of now. You have seen it with your own eyes that you can overcome difficulties. You can manage things within yourself so that you're not off kilter or off balance. Yeah. It's like that self-confidence you gain through going through challenges, going through difficult parts of life. They make us stronger and they make us more confident in our abilities because we can see how truly capable we really are when it comes down to those moments. Beautiful energy. I really love your energy. Let's go on to the Chariot now. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time? Please and thank you, Spirit. With that Chariot card, please and thank you. What do we have for that Chariot card? Please and thank you. Let's see. Anything else? Ooh. For that Chariot card, please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what. Oh, damn, Spirit. Okay. Spirit ain't messing around with this one. I freaking knew it. I'm so glad I said something. Okay. So the first card to come out to clarify the Chariot, you want to know what it is? The Chariot. I love when Spirit does that. So you're really in that Chariot energy, baby. Oh, that is a fiery, well, it's not fiery literally in terms of the tarot because it represents Cancer, but I think of the Chariot as very much a sort of fiery sort of energy because it's like you're all amped up and you're ready to go. You're ready to go on this journey. Okay, and then two other cards came out. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So I don't know if you remember, but at the very beginning of this reading, we had the King of Wands. At the bottom of the deck was the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Do you want to guess the third card that came out to clarify the Chariot? Take a wild guess. The King of freaking Swords, the one king that completes the group of kings. So now we have seen all of the kings, which tells me that you are in your emperor energy. You are the biggest boss of all. And I feel like that kind of shows how balanced you are and how well-rounded you are, because all of these different parts to yourself you have mastered and used to your benefit, and people are seeing that. Oh, and then bottom of the deck is the High Priestess again. So your intuition has been a big part in all of this, I feel. And maybe your connection to Spirit as well. but you are being seen right now as very determined, because it's almost like people, so they automatically think you're going to be successful or you're already successful. But there's also this message with the Chariot about you are so focused because maybe whether you're consciousness or whether you're conscious of this or not, there's like some deep knowledge you have within you of like, if I keep focused, if I keep going down this path, it will pay off. And it's like, because of that mindset, because of the action you're putting in, things are bound to get really good for you. But people are almost like looking at you and they're like, it's almost like you have some knowledge that they don't have. And so it's almost like when they see you moving like this, people are like, oh, the collective must know something I don't know, because they are all fired up and ready to go. And then the Wheel of Fortune to follow the Chariot card is interesting to me, because that feels like not only divine direction. I feel like the divine is definitely guiding you through this whole process. And that's probably part of the reason why you're gaining all of this confidence in yourself. But also, people are viewing you as being incredibly lucky. They feel like you're entering a chapter of your success. It feels like it's like luck is on your side, the universe is on your side, spirit is on your side. Like, it feels like there's so many things that are serving you during this time. So many different aspects that are really serving you here. And people may think that you are incredibly lucky, or incredibly blessed, either way. Maybe both. People might think both. And then the King of Swords. You're being seen as super smart. You also are very like logical, but that doesn't mean that you are a stick in the mud, or that you aren't also very intuitive and emotional. You do have this beautiful balance in all different areas, yeah. But people might think that you're a little bit serious right now, but it's because you're so freaking focused. It literally feels like uh laser focused. Is that a phrase? Something like that. You're just like so determined, you're putting in the action, you are like, I'm gonna accomplish this thing. And so people might think that you're really in the zone. You're very much taking yourself very seriously during this time. And it almost feels like it's almost like you're buckling down here. You're like, this is too important for me to not give proper time and investment, focus, energy in this area of my life. Like, literally nothing is going to stop you, because you're not letting anything stop you. You're just like, you are locked in. Like, you see the target ahead and you're going for it. So in terms of this part of the reading, what is making you glow? Part of your glow is due to the fact that you feel excited about a purpose. And it's like, the further you go down this path, the luckier you're going to feel. But you can also be reassured that it's not just luck alone, it's also your hard work that accompanies it. Your determination, your devotion to these goals. That's what makes the difference. It really does feel like you're listening to spirit, and spirit has not let you down yet. So you're just like rolling with it, seeing how far it can take you. Let's see what's underneath that. Queen of Cups. It's so funny. We just clarified the Queen of Cups. Yeah. Yeah, you're really balanced out. So it's really like you're embodying the emperor and the empress at the same time. That would make a lot of sense too, because you have like balanced out your masculine and feminine, but that must be one hell of an energy to show up with. No wonder why you're glowing, because you're probably literally embodying both the emperor and the empress in one human being. So if you notice that people are really drawn to you during this time, maybe people like stare at you, or you notice people kind of gawking at you and you're just like, what? It's probably because you have such a powerful energy, a very intense aura during this time. I'm just curious what's underneath that Queen of Cups. Ace of Cups, yeah. So it's interesting because it's almost like people see you as like this very serious, determined, goals focused person. Oh, my hair's not like too crazy. but you're also soft, kind, loving. Why do I feel like people may even be slightly confused about you because they've never seen such harmonious balance in anyone before? Because if you think about it, how rare would it be to embody both the emperor and the empress? That's got to be some insane energy. That almost feels like it almost feels like, and I'm hoping that I'm not feeding anybody's egos here, because that's not really the intention. But it just feels so intense to the point of like there are certain goddesses and gods in different cultures that embody both masculine and feminine. Of course, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it feels like that kind of energy where it's like you embody all of it. I'm also getting the song I'm Every Woman. It's a good little song. Shaka Khan originally sang it, I believe, but then Whitney Houston also did a cover of it. Both are good. I like both versions. But anyways, so I'll include that when I'm editing this later. But yeah, like it's so funny too because it's like you're the full package. Period. Honestly, like that's the whole statement. So it's interesting though because it's like while you're working really hard, you're not neglecting yourself. You're still feeding yourself. You're still making sure that you prioritize your health, your wellness, your happiness. So it's like you really are balanced and very radiant because of that. You have a great intuition as well. I feel like, you know when it's time to act and when it's time to rest, when it's time to, stay focused on your goals and when it's time to maybe goof off a little bit. We all need a little bit of goofing off here and there to keep life fun. But yeah, you're incredibly balanced and incredibly like powerful. It's undeniable at this point. Let's go into the Page of Swords. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time with that Page of Swords? Please and thank you, Spirit. What is making the collective glow during this time with that Page of Swords? Thank you. Oh no, so many. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So, Page of Swords. We have clarifying. Excuse me. Of course, I burped right into the mic. Anyways, so clarifying the Page of Swords, we have the Seven of Swords, Three of Swords, Ace of Wands, Five of Swords, and then we have Page of Cups, the Hanged Man, Three of Cups, and then the Seven of Wands. And then bottom of the deck, we have the King of Pentacles again. King of Pentacles again. Said that a little too fast. Interesting too that it starts with a 7 and ends with a 7. We have the Seven of Swords, but also the Seven of Wands. Two very different energies, but interesting that it's kind of like a seven sandwich here, and then the rest of the cards are in between them. But yeah, this is telling us a story here about betrayal, heartbreak, creation. This feels like a little bit of like a backstory to you. There's something about how you, and this feels like it could be a newer energy because it is a page. So I wonder if nowadays you are able to observe things happening, but not internalize them, not let them, you don't let those circumstances or whatever define you or keep you stuck. There's something about like you don't really internalize things like you used to, such as life circumstances or how other people treat you. There's a way that you kind of, you sit back and watch, is what I feel. But it's a very powerful energy. It almost feels like a bit of detachment, especially when it comes to romance, I want to say. Because it feels like you had a past of people betraying you, doing really sneaky things with bad intentions, people that did not have your best interest at heart. Yeah. And these circumstances really broke you. Oh, how interesting. So on each end, we have a 7, and then on each end, after that 7, we have 3s. 7 and 3s repeating, that could be definitely something here. Also, we had repeating 10s. So that could also mean something. But, well, if we look at the 3 of Swords with the 3 of Cups, typically we see that as like a third party situation, which would make sense with that 7 of Swords energy we saw at the beginning of this pot. Because it's like somebody was hiding something, and when you found out the truth, it was devastating for you. A huge betrayal. And then I see you kind of working on bringing your manifestations to real life, your creations to reality. But it's interesting because it's like, yeah, this feels like a backstory because it's almost like there's this energy that you embodied of like being kind of more self-focused, kind of focused on the the things you're passionate about that you would like to see in your life, that you wish to create in life, but you were still being misunderstood is what I'm getting. But more than that is like mistreated. Like people just have not been nice to you. It's been rough. 5 of Swords, that's a really heavy energy. It almost feels like, I'm not going to lie, at some points you may feel really down and out because it feels like, damn, I just can't catch a break, can I? That's what I'm feeling. And so maybe that's kind of why you shifted into this more detached energy, is because if you let these things affect you deeply, you may give up on your dreams, or you may let them decide who you are and what you stand for. Giving away your power. Because it's almost like you go through this devastating heartbreak, betrayal, and then it's like you're trying to just focus on your creations, whatever helps you cope is what I'm getting. But also like it gives you that feeling of purpose, gives you that feeling of like, I'm doing something productive here. And so it's almost like, and I get like this sort of solitary energy with that Ace of Wands. But then it's like after that is the 5 of Swords, almost like, I'm just gonna say it because it feels like people start drama with you out of nowhere. Like you're literally just focusing on yourself, on your own life, the things that you wish to create, and people just simply take offense to you existing. That's insane. So you must have like a very intense energy in terms of like people love you or they hate you. You definitely like bring about very intense emotions from others. But unfortunately, you've been on the receiving end of the really negative type of energy. But this is actually quite beautiful at the same time because after that Five of Swords energy is the Page of Cups. It's almost like you are super resilient in the way of like, no matter what happens, no matter how people tend to treat me, I will still show up in this loving energy, this caring energy. It's like you are determined to stay soft. And it's like you're not letting life beat you down. And maybe at one point you did, but not anymore. You are like almost stubborn with your optimism nowadays, where it's like, even when everything is not going your way and people take offense to you simply just existing, and try to like, start drama with you or try to like make you feel bad, make you feel worthless, whatever, you still show up in a way that does not reflect that pain. And that takes a lot of skill, a lot of experience, a lot of resilience, a lot of, yeah, it takes a very strong soul to do that kind of stuff, to remain soft despite life circumstances and situations and how others treat you. It almost even feels like there is a bit of magic incorporated into that. It's like because you're so stubborn with your open heart, I feel like that's manifesting something for you here. The Hanged Man, I think that you have analyzed a lot of these circumstances or situations that you've experienced with others. And it's almost like, I think you've gained a lot of wisdom through all of the years of being mistreated by other people, through all of these experiences of being targeted. Um, it just feels like needlessly hated on. But it's almost like you have realized something through sort of meditating on this. You probably realize that the reason why these people treat you the way that they do is because they feel that way about themselves. And so they feel like they need to project it onto you. There's something about how you're just so much wiser and you don't internalize these things anymore, is what I feel. Because you've realized that there's really no point to that. And if you did internalize these things, it would just hold you back. It would not serve you in any way. So even though it probably hurts, like if somebody's like targeting you out of nowhere or spreading rumors about you or, you know, dragging your name through the mud for no reason, I think it still hurts. It's still very uncomfortable. It still sucks. But you're not taking that as an indication of your worth anymore because you're establishing that sense of self-worth within yourself, and you're not letting other people change that, manipulate that, twist that. You're not letting other people decide what your narrative is, who you are at the end of the day. So you have really mastered detachment. I feel like that's a part of your glow because it's like sometimes I get like such abstract concepts in my mind. It's hard to articulate it with words, but it's almost like you have something within you that is valuable, that is sweet, that is pure, that is worth loving. And you protect that by not internalizing everything that goes on around you. Um, you protect that by not internalizing the things that people say. the harshness that people want you to feel so that they can get some sense of control. No, you keep a space there now. It's not like it used to be, I want to say. Um, it feels like you know when to be emotional and you also know when to be logical. And that is very special. I don't think that's very common. Um, and it's just very, very powerful. And then after the Hanged Man, Three of Cups. So this is such a beautiful energy because I'm getting like, even though you have been mistreated by others, you still believe in the greater good. You still believe that there are good people out there. You still believe that, hell, maybe even in these people that are very low vibrational, very, um, you know, what's the word? Malevolent, I guess. Maybe you still believe that there's some good inside them still that's worth saving, that's worth, well, not to say that you're putting yourself in harm's way to save these people, but rather like maybe it's because you're trying to like put good into the world and you're hoping that that will eventually come back around to the people that need it, such as the people that um, attack other people for no reason. You still believe in community, you still believe in friendship, you still believe in being open with other people. You still believe in like putting your best foot forward and that being um, reciprocated. It really does. It feels like you create your own hope and it has nothing to do with your past. Your past was awful. You were terribly mistreated, taken advantage of. But it's like there's this stubbornness of like, I will find the light within and I will find the light in my path, my journey. Because also, it's so beautiful too that like these four cards, this is like your backstory, right? There's not a lot of light in them. Pretty dark compared to these that have at least some light source within the images. Um, yeah, there's like at least some sense of light there. So it's like you create your own light. There could be a bit of stubbornness that comes along with this, but it's beautiful because you're not giving up on humanity. You're not giving up on yourself. You're not giving up on the world. And then after that Three of Cups, we have the Seven of Wands. You are a fighter. It's almost like you have been through so many battles that nothing can get you down at this point. Um, it's almost like say each of these wands here is like one of your haters or your nemesis, whatever. All these sticks here are opposing you and you have to fight against them and it feels like a lost cause because it's so you know unequal. It's so the odds are stacked against you, but yet you still triumph and you say, I'm here, I am unbreakable, try your worst. There's something so insanely powerful about you and the energy that you show up in, because it's like, and the best part of this is like the energy that you put out will come back to these lower vibrational people and help them grow, if that makes any sense. Because you're in this high vibration, you're pushing out this good energy into the world. Even the people that are trying to hate on you, even the people that are of that lower vibration that just want to make themselves feel better so they use you as a target, the messages you put out there, the positive energy you put out there, it will come back not only for you for good karma, but also you know that it makes an impact. You know that it will change the world. This perspective or this optimism. And the messages and whatever you're putting out into the world will eventually come back to these lower vibrational people and help them to grow, help them to learn, um, to become maybe more flexible, to work on their shadows. It's like you're not giving up for anyone or nothing. You're not giving up for anyone or anything, you know? Nothing can get in your way, because it's like there's a bigger picture that you have seen and probably still see of like what is possible. Yeah. It's such a beautiful energy. So the King of Pentacles, this could be even directly related to this good energy that you're putting out. It could make you incredibly successful in terms of like finances, abundance, worldly stability, security. So it's like if you lean into this positive message you have for the world, if you lean into this optimism, it's going to come back for you and serve you in ways that maybe you didn't realize at first. Maybe you thought that there were, sure, like I'm very passionate about these speeches I give, but maybe you just never considered that you could get paid for, sharing certain things or whatever, or, giving speeches and stuff. But I feel like it's going to come back around to you in unexpected ways. Let's see what's underneath that King of Pentacles. Five of Wands. So yeah, you're used to like chaos or conflict. You're used to people trying to get in your way. Again, I'm getting this feeling of like people just like to take offense to you for no reason. It's almost like they see you as competition, or it's weird. It's almost like a one-sided, like, what do you call it when it's like the protagonist against the antagonist? I feel like there's a word for that or phrase. But it feels like one-sided like that. Like they're viewing you as the antagonist and they're viewing themselves as the protagonist, and then it's just like, yeah, my job here is to defeat the collective. And it's just like they have this all in their own head, and you're just like, what? I'm good. I'm just gonna do my own thing over here. um but yeah, you may kind of see people like acting weird around you, because it's like I really do think that people just simply take offense to you. But these are the people that are like lower vibrational. They haven't done that internal healing yet. They haven't come as far as you have. But still, it's no excuse to treat you badly. But that would maybe explain why they show up in that way. I'm just curious what's underneath that Five of Wands. Two of Wands. But it's like you take that into consideration. It's like you do have a beautiful mind. I'm just going to say that. Like we saw with the King of Swords earlier, your mind. I'm randomly thinking of a SpongeBob quote where Patrick's like, the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. And then it like is like a thought bubble and is like spilled over milk or something like that. Hilarious. But anyways, but your mind literally is an enigma. Nobody can like, I think you're way smarter than people think you are, because it's like you're out here playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers. Like you are thinking 10 steps ahead. You see what kinds of conflict that people like to make. You see that people take offense to you for simply existing. And so you take that into consideration when it comes to your plans for the future. You already take into consideration all of these variables. And so that, I think, makes you unstoppable. Truly. because it's like people think that they're being original. They think that they're being original. They're doing something to block your progress in a way that never has been done before. But you're just like, okay, I can easily sidestep that. Or, you've been through so many things that nothing really keeps you stuck anymore. Nothing really holds you back. And I feel like that surprises the other people that want to, slow you down, hold you back, but they have to eventually face the fact that they can't stop you. If you can't beat them, join them, is what I'm getting. I wonder if that means that, well, you are showing up in this very alluring, very unique energy. So I wonder if, like, you probably could convert some haters to fans, um, especially maybe the way that you navigate situations. It's almost like maybe they start out hating you and wanting to see your downfall, but then they kind of realize, wait a second, this person's interesting. This person doesn't respond the way that I thought they would. This person is doing something different. And so it's like they want to observe you, and then it's like the more they observe you, they notice these details, and then it's like, wait a second, this person's kind of badass. Wait a second, this person, I kind of respect that. It's like, I feel like the more you exist, the more you're around these people, eventually they realize that they don't really have a reason to hate you. And if anything, they have a reason to admire you. I don't know if they would admit to that, because probably will take some time to get over the ego, but I think you do. You convert people to your side. Okay. Eventually, I want to say. Okay, let's go into the Seven of Pentacles. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is causing the collective to glow? What is that glow about, baby, with that Seven of Pentacles? Please and thank you, Spirit. Please and thank you for the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah. You know. Oh. Well, la-di-da-da. Okay. Wait, which one came first? Okay, I'll just go with that. Okay. Sometimes I overthink the positions of the cards. Anyways, so clarifying that Seven of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Cups came out in the reverse. Then we have the Star card, upright, and Nine of Cups, Strength card, and then bottom of the deck, that Five of Wands again. So this is interesting. You're making slow and steady progress in something that is going to pay off big time for you. But I think you've had to put love on the back burner in the meantime. Because maybe I was right earlier when I was saying something along the lines of, like, maybe you're one of those people that gets maybe too absorbed by your relationships that you don't have maybe the mental capacity for anything else, or you let them distract you. But yeah, you seem like you're prioritizing something other than love right now. Not saying that you're completely non-emotional or non-loving. I just feel like it's not in a romantic sense, It feels like specifically romantic love you've kind of put on the back burner for now. You have the depth, you have the emotions, you have the maturity of all of these things if you wanted to pursue that, but it feels like that something else demands maybe more of your focus and effort, especially if you want to see the payoff to this investment. It's simply like you rationalize because your brain is so well equipped. It's just like you're very smart, and so you take all of these like variables into consideration when you're coming up with your plans, and it will serve you. Also, that Star card, that's beautiful. You've really healed yourself, but you're also standing out in a big way here. There's something very special about you. I think it really has to do with the way that your mind works. You don't really see things how other people see it. Like other things that would have gotten anyone else stuck in life, you're able to recalculate and start again. Try, fail, try again, succeed. You know what I mean? And it's like the more you embody this star energy of just like being in your power, knowing your worth, being focused on your goals, you're going to be achieving your wish fulfillment with that Nine of Cups. Also, that strength of will, especially when it comes to maybe putting love on the back burner right now. You have that strength, that determination, that courage. You got that fierceness inside of you. You got the beast, the beast within. But it's not like you're ruled by your inner beast or shadow self. You use it to your benefit. I feel like you're right on track to attract a major wish fulfillment. And this is coming as a result of your hard work, your slow and steady investments, your consistency, and your overall trajectory. Like it feels like you are. Well, I got to be careful how I word this because I'm not trying to say it like you never struggle or, that it's not okay for progress to be up and down because, progress is never really linear. But overall, you have a very upward trajectory that you're following. So it's like, even if you struggle on certain days and maybe less, maybe you're less productive on certain days and stuff, that's simply part of being a human. Um, like we can't demand perfection by any means, but you're really staying on track. And I want to say I'm very proud of you. That's not easy to do, especially when it comes to like, we all crave companionship, I would say, or at least most of us. It's a very basic human need. Um, and so maybe it is kind of uncomfortable to have to be like, okay, I need to put that on the back burner for now because I need to focus on my work. Um, and maybe that's a little bit uncomfortable. And maybe that's not what you want to really do. Because I feel like, most of us probably don't want to, you know, say to ourselves, okay, I can't date people right now, or I can't, whatever. So even if it's uncomfortable in the moment, you know that this will pay off in the long term. But there's something about your glow that is also untouchable. You give it untouchable energy. And maybe it's because of your perceived success or the success that you're about to come into. There's something untouchable about you, though. And maybe it's part of like your connection to the divine, the way you kind of just like march to the beat of your own drum. You're not really here to impress anyone. You don't really live off of external validation or the validation of others. You kind of just do your own thing. But it's like you're confident in that thing. There's a sense of self assuredness with that thing. And so you give yourself to it. And you let that transform you in your life for the better. It really is like the glow that you give off is just unlike anything that anyone has ever seen. And you created this from within. Yeah. I just keep wanting to say, like, you are an amazing person. You really have a lot of beautiful things going on right now for yourself. And you should feel very proud of yourself because it's not easy, especially with this kind of energy. The Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck, people just randomly. Oh, so now I'm getting a different message with this Five of Wands. I think. Okay. So the competition part of this message with the Five of Wands, I'm getting it as people outside of you may be actually competing for your attention romantically, but you are not in that sort of mindset right now. And instead of that deterring people, it makes them want to fight for you even harder. Okay. Let's see what's underneath that Five of Wands. Interesting. King of Pentacles. If you were to attract somebody like a King of Pentacles, that could be here. That a King of Pentacles is trying to get your attention, but you're completely just not interested in romance during this time. It almost feels like there's a lot of people trying to get your attention right now, but because you're so focused, which I think that people are probably attracted to the fact that you're so focused and you're, accomplishing your goals, you're going towards the things that matter to you. I think people find that very attractive. And so it feels like a lot of people are trying to get your attention. Let's see what's underneath this King of Pentacles. Six of Wands. Ooh. So people are seeing you as incredibly successful. So literally, either you are successful now or you're going to be, because of your mindsets, because of your energy, because of the efforts that you're putting in. That's crazy. But that also could be you being in the spotlight, so to speak. You don't have to be in a literal spotlight. It's possible. But simply by, being on this grind that you have going on, you're coming into success and people are noticing that about you. So maybe that's kind of why everybody wants to kind of vie for your attention, is because you got it going on. People see that. And it almost feels like this could be split in a couple of different ways. Like certain people may want you for the wrong reasons, where they kind of just want to leech off of your energy and be like, oh, well, they're successful, so maybe they can help me get ahead in life too, or something. But there also will be people that are genuine, that have their own stability and success, that won't want to take from you, but rather give to you, so that the two of you can build something together. But yeah, it feels like when you're ready to open up to something romantic, you probably have, well, at least one option, probably more. So it's like maybe once you achieve your goals here, once you hit a certain, maybe a certain goal or certain, I can't think of the word, but yeah, goal, pretty much. Maybe once you hit that goal, you'll be able to open up romantically, not feel so pressured to be so closed off to romance. Yeah. Okay. This has been a beautiful reading. Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck here. So interesting. I do think that you will have a very loving energy, but this feels like, this is kind of ironic, because it's almost like during this time that you're not really focused on romance. You're not really focused on that area of your life. It's almost like you're attracting it because you're not focused on it. I think that there is somebody that really wants to make their feelings known to you, though. But again, you're not really in that mindset right now. And maybe that's for the best, at least at this point. I want to see what's underneath that Knight of Cups. Knight of Swords. Wait a second. Somebody might be coming in towards you very soon to make themselves known. I want to see what's underneath that. Ten of Swords. Oh, maybe they just recently went through some painful ending. Oh. So either they went through a painful ending on their own, or maybe there was a painful ending between the two of you. Let's see what's underneath that Ten of Swords. Nine of Cups. Okay, so they see you they see you as their wish fulfillment, but they either could be struggling with something currently, or maybe this is simply just the past between the two of you. They want to mend this painful past, this painful ending, so that they can start new with you and the two of you can create a wish fulfillment together. Interesting. So yeah, that could be happening in the background of all of this. Somebody wants to make their presence known. And maybe it's like an unrelated painful ending that they experience maybe somewhere else. But they do see you as their wish fulfillment for sure. It probably has something to do with the way that you have this really powerful work ethic. And you're just so empowered and so driven, like you're being seen as very attractive. And that's kind of why you're glowing. You know what you got going on and you set to it. Let's break out the oracle. I'll see if there's any additional messages. Please and thank you, Spirit. Any additional messages for the collective in relation to this reading, either the topic or maybe some advice for the collective. Please and thank you. Anything else? Any other messages with this oracle? Okay, let's see what we have. So, only one card came out, but this is Seeds. It represents new ideas, hope, and open-mindedness. Beautiful. Yeah, listen to your new ideas. Those will probably guide you in a good direction. Incorporate new ideas, perhaps, in this path that you're going down. Hope, I think that your future is looking very bright. Open-mindedness, okay. Yeah. That feels like be open to the things that, how do I word that? Open-mindedness. Be open to the unexpected, I want to say. It almost feels like it's so hard to like articulate these ideas sometimes. Because it almost is like when you're growing something, I don't know. Yeah, I guess this might make sense. So, you're growing something, you're trying to plant something so that it grows. And maybe you surprise yourself with how the fruits of your labor come in, or maybe the form that they take. Because it's almost like, and maybe this is just my experience with gardening, is like I'm not very good at gardening. And so I'm like shocked if I get like sprouts, right? On the minimal amount of time that I ever spend on planting things, And so I plant these seeds, not really expecting a whole lot, but then I see them sprouting and I'm like, oh my gosh, it actually worked, So there's like this need to be open-minded to unexpected blessings. That feels like a strong message there. Like things that you thought may not work out or may not work out that great, like it's like, okay, maybe I'll get a tiny bit of success, but then it's like, oh no, you're gonna have a whole harvest, baby. You're gonna have a lot of success. I feel like there's something about that here where it's like your plans, your efforts may pay off even greater than you could have imagined. And then at the bottom of the deck we have the Sow card, and this represents planning, setting intentions, and optimism, which isn't that so perfect though? Because when you're planting seeds, you are sowing them. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful energy here. So I think that you have planted those seeds. I think you have planned. I think you have set intentions, and you have remained optimistic or created that optimistic mindset because of all of those things. Get ready for a big payoff is what I want to say. Yeah, because it's just a matter of time. You've done all of the right things. Get ready for that to come back to you like a million times over. Oh, okay. Actually, I was about to close it off, the reading, but slipped off. to reveal the carnelian underneath. I like to point out that I wear carnelian, but anyways. And that represents energy, leadership, and creativity. Leadership, that is so Emperor energy. And I told you that you are embodying the Emperor energy. But I think you're embodying both Emperor and Empress energy, which would go with creativity. The Empress probably is very creative because she creates life and whatnot. Energy, though, the energy that you're in is in perfect alignment. You know, even if you have moments of questioning things or doubt, it feels like overall you're really doing a great job. So please keep it up because great things are coming for you. Okay? So that is the reading. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it resonated. If it did, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a little bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click that bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time that I upload. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.